Hello beautiful faces, thanks for stopping by whether you are new or returning. Now it's time for the Q2 reading wrap up, also the mid-year freakout book tag. So the mid-year freakout book tag are the questions I am going to be using. I forget who this tag was started by, so I'm sorry about that, but literally everybody in the book space is posting their mid-year freakout videos and thought that it was time for mine. So on a piece of paper written, you cannot see, I have all of the questions and we're just going to jump right into it. So they're going to be questions and I'm going to answer them and I'm going to give you book recommendations and we're just going to talk about books today. It's going to be really, really fun, so let's jump into it. First question says, what is the best book that you have read so far this year? Now, I think I've got two answers because I don't think that I could pick one. So my first answer is a book I read pretty recently, which is Bound by Shadows by Katie Madden. So I read this on my Kindle and I just fell in love with it. Just seriously fell in love with it. It's not a traditional dark romance, there's also thriller elements to it, and then there's a plot twist at the end that basically makes you take everything you thought you knew about that book and throw it in the trash because, oh my god, it is one of the best books, because like I said, there's another one, that I have read this year because I just fell in love with it. It's a dark, why choose romance, so check your trigger warnings as we go into it, and I just love it. I speak about it more in the June reading wrap up if you want to hear more thoughts about it, because I'm going to try and have this video not be too long. So I really, really liked it and it was one of the best books I read this year. Now, the other best book that I read this year is Kinport, both volumes, so 1 and 2. I read these, I think if I remember correctly, it was April I read these and I just fell in love. So this is my all-time favorite Thai BL TV show and it was originally based off a book, but it was written in the Thai language, so clearly I would not have understood it, but they've come out with English translations and I read the first 2 volumes and it instantly became the best thing I read this year. Like I said, only just rivaled with Bound by Shadows. Read that recently and that blew me out of the water. Cannot wait to dive into more. I've been trying to get volume 3 because that's out, but Amazon is always out of stock and they're even coming out with a volume 4 soon. So maybe I'll wait for volume 4 and then I can binge volumes 3 and 4. I'm just trying to get my hands on it because Amazon's always out of stock. But yes, so this and Bound by Shadows are the best things I've read this year. Now, quickly, there are 2 questions I'm not really going to be able to answer because I don't really have answers for them. So, one of the questions is, what is the best book to movie adaptation? There hasn't really been any this year. I don't think there's really been much, or maybe there has been, but it's one that I've not noticed or ones that I don't really care for. I will, however, be able to tell you about a book to movie adaptation that has been announced that I am excited for, which is the Off-Campus TV show. So, you know, The Deal, The Score, The Mistake, The Goal and The Legacy by Elle Kennedy. So that's getting a TV show, which is very exciting because we all know that I love The Deal. It's one of my all-time favorite books and I just love the entire series. It's a 5-star romance series for me. I absolutely loved it and cannot wait for that to be turned into a TV show. Now, the other question I'm not really going to be able to answer is, what is the most beautiful book that you've bought this year? I think this is a question of like, show off something that's like maybe like a special edition or whatever. So I only own one singular special edition and I didn't buy that this year, so it doesn't count. And I don't really buy special editions. I'm not one for having multiple copies of a book. It's not really my thing, so I can't really answer that. So the next question is, what is the best sequel you have read this year? Now, I haven't read a ton of sequels because I haven't really read a ton of like proper series. I just read a ton of those interconnected types, but Onyx Storm. So this is the 3rd book in the Imperium series, first book being Fourth Wing, second book being Iron Flame, and this got released in January. I didn't read it until I think February or March I read this and I loved it. I loved it. Yes, no, I read this in March, that's right, because I read Fourth Wing and half of Iron Flame in February, the other half of Iron Flame and Onyx Storm in March. This is the best sequel. Like, I just love this book. I love Zayden. Not really going to tell you what this is about. This sort of video, I'm not really going to tell you what much of it is about. You can have a Google. I just want to talk about books that I loved, and I don't want this video to go forever. Also, if I told you what this is about, it would spoil. So go read Fourth Wing if you haven't. It's an amazing series. I love it. I know everyone's talking about it. I know everyone's probably telling you to read Fourth Wing. I know. But I will jump on the bandwagon because I love Zayden. I love this. I love Violet too. Really, really like Violet. She's a great FMC. And this series is so fun. And you're going to fall in love with dragons too because they can talk. I mean, even if they didn't talk, you'd still just fall in love with dragons because I just love dragons, okay? The dragons were giving me Uric Vernison from the Golden Compass, which is that talking polar bear. And I love him. So I love the dragons in this as well. And this is the best sequel I've read all year. I know we have to wait forever until we get book 4, but at least we've got Onyx Storm. Next question is, what is a new release that you haven't read yet? So there are a lot of books on my TBR that I'm yet to read. And yes, some of them are new releases and some of them are more they came out a while ago. I am kind of trying to prioritize stuff that maybe came out a while ago so that I can get them off of my TBR. But one of my most recent purchases is a new release and I am excited to get to it because I really enjoyed the first book. This is Caught Up by Nevessa Allen. So I read Lights Out last year and really, really enjoyed it. So I really want to pick up Caught Up. I think it's going to be an amazing book and I honestly can't wait to read this. I don't know when, but I would really like to read this year. Next question is, what is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year? So I don't have a ton of these and the only one that really comes to mind is Volume 4 of Kinporsche. Obviously I'm really enjoying Kinporsche and they're coming out with a Volume 4. I think it comes out later this year, so I am very excited for the next volume of Kinporsche. Of course I've got to read Volume 3, but like I was saying, it's usually out of stock, so I haven't been able to get my hands on the 3rd volume yet. And then when the 4th one comes out, I would obviously love to get my hands on that one as well because I'm really enjoying Kinporsche. I'm trying not to talk about books more than once in this video, but I don't really have a ton of other like releases. I feel like Caught Up was another one that I was anticipating, but that's already out, so that doesn't count. Next question is, what has been the biggest disappointment of the year? Now I don't want to talk on it too much, but Layla by Colleen Hoover, I read that in January and I didn't love it. I was quite sorely disappointed and it's kind of put me off Coho. Don't really know when I'll read one of their books again in the future. I don't know. I don't know if I have interest in any of her other ones. I know I preach about some of them being great and some of them are. Layla was not. The next question is similar. It says, what has been the biggest surprise? Now, I knew I wanted to talk about this book. So this is the Highland Kiss by Amy McGavin. I really, really enjoyed this book and it's surprising because I'm not the biggest small town lover, though this is unlike any small town I've ever read. So it's set in Scotland, so the MMC is Scottish and a lot of the characters are Scottish and I just fell in love with it. It was kind of giving a little bit PS Love You, not entirely, but like I think there is a part of PS Love You where it's like finding yourself. And I feel like the female main character in this was definitely trying to find herself because she gets left at the altar and then goes to Scotland for about a month because obviously she was meant to have a month on her honeymoon, but that's no longer happening, so she goes to Scotland and it goes from there. And it's just a really good book. I was so surprised by how much I loved this. I read it in February. I would really actually like to continue on and read more books in this series. I don't know why I haven't continued on, honestly, but I really, really enjoyed this first book. It's an interconnected series, so the male main character has like some brothers and they're gonna get a book, and the female main character has a best friend. She's the female main character in book 2, and just, I don't know why I haven't continued on, but it's a really surprise because I'm not the biggest small town lover, but I really enjoyed that book. Next question says, who is my new favourite author this year? So there's 2 ways you can answer this. It can be a debut author or it can be an author that's new to you. It doesn't necessarily need to be, like it can be debut, but it cannot be debut. But I'm going to pick somebody that did come out with a debut. Teeny Page, The Other Brother. I absolutely loved this. I read this on my Kindle because she indie published it herself and she's just recently become traditionally published, and I got this at Dimmicks just the other day and I'm so thankful I have it on my shelf because I absolutely love this book. This is another, she's kind of left right before the wedding. She's dating this guy and he leaves, and then she kind of leaves him. and then she starts falling for his brother, so the other brother, hence the title. So the one, okay, so the guy at the start that she's with has a younger brother who is the male main character. Anyways, this is written by, like I said, Teeny Page. So she is beloved in the book space. So she is another Australian girlie like myself, which we love. And so she does mainly book talk and bookstagram content, talking about all the books that she reads, because she's an avid reader just like we all are. And she recently became an author, coming out with this book, and it was really good. I really liked this book. I thoroughly enjoyed my time, and she's announced that next year she's coming out with the second book in this series. This is the London Heart series, and The Sweet Secret comes out next year, which I'm so excited for. Like, that's actually an anticipated release of mine, but I couldn't answer that for the anticipated release question, because the anticipated release question was it comes out this year. The Sweet Secret's like an anticipated release for next year, because I really enjoy the other brother. Like, this is my new favourite author right now. I would also like to shout out again Amy McGavin. They are a husband and wife writing duo. So the author of The Highland Kiss, which is part of the True Scotsman series. So it's a husband and wife. They came up with the name Amy McGavin together. So that's actually a duo. So it's a pen name for them. So they're also probably a favourite author of mine, because I really enjoyed The Highland Kiss. Next question is, who is your newest fictional crush, aka name some of the book boyfriends that you discovered this year. So I'm just going to rapid fire through people that came on my book boyfriends list, but they have to have been added this year. So first, Zayden Ryerson, because I started fourth wing this year, got on the Zayden train. He is a book boyfriend and I absolutely love him. Next, we've got both Aidan and Ronan from the Royal Elite series by Irina Kent. They were my two favourites from the Royal Elite. Aidan and Ronan, they're my men from Royal Elite. I love them. I would also say James from The Other Brother, because I just fell in love with James. He was everything that Lucas was not, and that's all I'm going to say. Next is a book that made you cry. Now, when I did my Q1 wrap-up, I didn't have an answer for this. But I do have an answer for it now, because I have read something in Q2 and it made me cry. The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Oh my god. This is Greek mythology. It is also, like, it's the story of Achilles and Patroclus, a bit of gay romance as well, because they're both men getting together back in the day. And just, oh my god. I was crying by the end of this. It's so sad. I really recommend this. I thoroughly loved it. But it is so sad. You're gonna need some tissues, because I was crying by the end of this. So, I didn't think that I was gonna love this as much as I did, but I did. And it's a really good book, but it is very sad, so just keep that in mind. Next question is a book that made you happy or laugh, just gave you all those giddy feels. Now, I've got a manga to answer this with, and they're actually the first two books that I read in July, and I will talk about it a little bit more when we get to the July reading wrap-up. But I read Puppet's Attract. This is an adorable manga. It's a bit slice of lifey. It's also a little bit of romance in there, and it's heavily about dogs. I love dogs. I have a dog of my own. She's an English Staffy. She's the love of my life. And if you'd like to see her in a video, let me know, because I would love to do one of those, the dog chooses my reads. I see a lot of people do those. And if you would like to meet my dog, then woohoo, I would definitely love to have my dog in a video. Anyways, this is the first volume here. So this is a boy that owns a Pomeranian and a girl that owns a Rottweiler. And they come together because they bump into each other on a walk. So they're walking their dogs and they bump into each other. And then their dogs become friends, and then they become friends. But I think that the guy definitely has a thing for the girl. So the girl is Chicharu and the boy is Kiyotaka. So just because Japanese names are hard to remember. So Chichira and Kiyotaka, they come together with their dogs. So you've got the Rottweiler, which is named Subu, and then you've got the Pomeranian, which is named Monjuro, and that's just like so adorable. I also found out that Subu means like, it's like a word for small, and she gave that to a Rottweiler, which I think is absolutely hilarious. And Pomeranians and Rottweilers are actually in my top 5 favorite dog breeds, so that was really, really adorable, because I love Rottweilers and I love Pomeranians. Obviously Staffies have my heart because I have Staffy, but these are in the top 5 along with Staffies. And then I went on to read volume 2 because I enjoyed volume 1 so much. So adorable. You get a couple of new characters introduced in this one, and it's just so cute. Like, this just gave me so the feels. I was smiling, blushing, kicking my feet while reading this. It was so cute. So, so cute, and I cannot wait for more volumes. The last question says, books that you need to read by the end of the year. Now, I'm just going to rapid fire through a couple. I'm not going to talk about them for too long. These are just ones that I'm kind of dying to start at some point. First, I have a dark romance duo, Twisted Ink and then Twisted Lace. This is a dark, why choose romance, but also involving tattoo artists, and I love the covers because it looks like neon lights. Next, I've got the Knock 'Em Out trilogy by Lucy Score because I've wanted to read a Lucy Score book for a good while, and everybody says that the Knock 'Em Out trilogy is the best place to start with Lucy Score. A lot of people read these as their first Lucy Scores. Also, these are the only Lucy Scores that I own, but I've been wanting to read these for a while, so I definitely want to read these by the end of the year. I also really want to read Kiss of the Basilisk, because if you know, you know. Also, for something different, I really want to try Jade City by Fonda Lee. I have heard really, really good things about this. This is a little bit different. This is more of a high fantasy instead of a romantasy, but apparently there's like the tiniest bit of romance in here. It's also Asian inspired. I don't know, I just have interest in giving this a go. Also really want to start Zodiac Academy this year. I've just put a computer generated image up. I do own it physically, but I really don't want to take it all apart, so I don't know if I'll finish it, but I would at least like to start Zodiac Academy this year, just because I have like huge interest in it, and everyone's reading Zodiac Academy right now, so I want to read Zodiac Academy. Alrighties, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. That was it for today's video, just a mid-year freakout book tag, Q2 reading wrap up. Wanted to talk about some of the amazing books and some of the not so amazing books that I've read this year. So that is it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing if you love books just as much as I do. And yep, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.